Welcome everybody to another episode of Command Combat Computer Reports. It's a nice sunny day here in Napoleon Total War, and looks like we've got the Russians versus the British, and you can see there in motion. You got a city here in the middle, and a lot of countryside on both sides, mostly woods on that side over there, and plains over here. Speaking of this direction, it looks like the Russians are moving some of their infantry over this direction. What are these? Musketmen, regular musketmen, with some grenadiers, and some Opalacine. As always, tell me how much I'm messing up the language here. Alright, meanwhile over here, Jägerfoot, Musketeers, looks like they got, Cossack Cavalry, so it looks like they're going to concentrate here on that left side, with some Dragoons over here on the far side. The British, meanwhile, are definitely concentrated on this side. They are going to send some light Dragoons over this ford over here, while meanwhile they have some horse artillery set up. So they basically sent their horse artillery and cavalry up front to try to hold that ford, while they send a lot of... it looks like they sent the Scotsmen. It's all Scottish here, marching up into those woods, and they're going to try to get across that ford. Meanwhile, they have their artillery already set up. Looks like they're just going to try to push across their right side there. While meanwhile they have some Highland foot coming up here, through the trees, into the city. And they have some rifles over here at this bridge, and nothing over here at this bridge. So it looks like they're moving up to protect this area up here, guarding over here with some Dragoons on their left side, and definitely making a push through the woods over here. We'll see how it works. All right. Well, looks like their cavalry is going to just rush right in there, just make an attack right off the bat. And both cavalry have gotten into it, but now some infantry is trying to get in there as well. Oh, and they're going to bring up some horse artillery to try to get a good shot in the middle. Oh, they are already getting hit by the Russian artillery that's way back there. Yep, and they're already getting damage. Let's see what kind of artillery is back there. Looks like it is some 6-pounder. Oh, it's horse artillery as well. So we're gonna trade shots. Wow, those are some good shots. I haven't actually. Man. Oh, okay. Here we go. They're skimming over some of this stuff. And we're gonna tops of those roofs. Ooh, and the British cavalry is being pushed back, and then. Yeah, some canister shot apparently shot right into their own men there, some of the British men. And those Russians, the Russian Cossack cavalry was coming up behind them, but they have retreated now. They're going back, but they have some infantry right behind them. Looks like it's going to be a struggle to preserve that artillery, but the cavalry is going to come right back in there. And that is a heck of a hit. You saw some of those Jaegers being thrown through the air. Oh, and it looks like the British plan has worked. There's a lot of running men there, and it looks like that the 6-pounder horse artillery on the Russian side is packing up, and they are starting to move back. But they have brought in some more infantry. They're going to try to flank that artillery there, but the artillery is coming back at them with canister. The cavalry is doing what they should do, which is to pull back, then go in and charge at them again, and pull back and charge at them again. That way you get those flying bodies, as you're seeing. Oh man, look at that, the cavalry guys charging, just pushing 2 infantry guys back. And they have broken the infantry there, and so the Russians are bringing more in through this direction, and they're getting hit with some crossfire, some artillery that's way back there, that British artillery that we saw that was set up closer to the center. It doesn't look like they're going to try to make much of a push towards the center or the right flank, and neither is the British. It's really going to come down to this ford here. The Russians have brought in some more cavalry to try to break them, or at least stall them. And it is taking a while for that infantry to come up here. Look at that. There's that Highland foot is still making their way slowly to the ford, just getting there. The British are trying to hold on to that crossing, but it may turn into, if the Russians are able to stop them here, particularly with that infantry that's coming up, it is going to become a stalled thing at the ford. The British are going to lose the advantage of their numbers. And especially if you get caught in that ford, it can kind of be bad news for you.
Our men are running for it.
And it looks like it's going to get caught in there. Meanwhile, the British cavalry is starting to break, and so has their artillery. They have lost that forward those forward units now, and now they are going to stop the British here at the ford. This is bad news for the British, and they are going to give it up. The Scottish are now going to line up on their side of the river. And it looked like, oh, there we go, and here comes some of that artillery doing some canister fire. That Russian cavalry tried to get across, but once you get into that ford, your momentum, which is the great advantage of cavalry, it just gets lost, and so they're just going to have to pull back, and it's going to become an infantry duel there, which the British are going to have a little bit of an advantage of because they do have that artillery. The Russians should bring up some, or they need to do exactly what they're doing, which is just
our general is under attack.
Crush right through them. And that looks like that's what they're going to do. Oh, the British general came out there to meet them, and is like thinking better of it. Oh, no! He was thinking better of it, now he's not really thinking very wisely at all. He's going right into them. He's like, screw it, guys, I'm going in here. You don't need to come in here, don't worry about it. I'll be fine. Alright, so that's going to turn into a grind. Let's take a look at what's been going on over here. Oh, it looks like it's a little bit of a fight's been going on. The rifles, British rifles are trading shots with Russians on both sides. The British rifles are going to have the advantage, of course, over here because they're better shots, and unless they come through, they're not going to, unless the Russians come through, they're not going to do much. And besides, the British have some Highland foot behind there, and they're pretty tough.
Black day.
And meanwhile, the British have come through on the far flank with their cavalry. They're going to just come right on around and get that, it looks like they're going to, I was thinking they were going to go after the infantry that's over there, but instead they're going to go after the better target, which is this artillery, and that's going to be just taken out here in just a moment. Yeah, you Russians can run, but you can't hide. Here come the British. And there they go. So they have taken that artillery. Let's take a look at what else is going on. This is continuing to trade shots, and oh, and now it looks like the British are getting tired of waiting. They're going to go ahead and send the Scotsman across. That's what you do when you get tired of waiting. You just send a Scotsman. It looks like it's going to be sort of an even fight here. Their morale is about the same. And of course the Scots have had the disadvantage of going across, however it is on foot. So gotten across. It looks like the morale is breaking for the Russians, and they're going to run here in a moment. So the British have gotten the center and the left. They have gotten the artillery that's over there. Let's take a look at how the grind is going over. Oh, it looks like the British did the same thing on both sides. They've just gone ahead and rushed right on through, and here they might not do quite as well. Oh, especially because now the Russians are bringing in some cavalry. They realize how important this area is. They do not want British in their rear and front, especially when they're caught in this ford. And yeah, you can see they're about to move some infantry in there, but they just can't get back there. So now it's going to become probably a firefight across this ford. Oh, the Highlanders are just like, screw that, we're moving back.
Or are they trying to kill us?
Look at all that death there. That's probably why they're going back, is because their artillery wants to fire, and they're doing a bit of friendly. Look at that, they're getting more men off of their own friendly fire than the enemy. And the Russians are going to try to follow them up here. Oh, there's some wounded going back to them, going back to their lines. It looks like the Highland foot is just going to try to hold them there while the artillery does its job. So, the Russians are going to leave only some there while they put some artillery up there on that hill, some more 6-pounder foot artillery. And the grind is now taking place over here near the center. Whoops, sorry about that, folks. It looks like they're about equal in terms of morale, although the Scotsmen do have more men, and of course they have the sharpshooters firing into there, whereas the Russians are only backed up by regular infantry, which is better melee, but not necessarily at shooting. So he's just going to go back and forth there. And meanwhile, you can see way back there in the background that the rest of the infantry is starting to creep up. Where is that cavalry, too? That should be up there somewhere. There we go. It's beginning to move. Oh, and that broke. The Highlander infantry is broken. They're going to be followed up by those Russians who might actually be able to take out those sharpshooters, but they're not going to. They are going to retreat themselves. And so, yeah, the British are going to have their rifles there to do with as they please. They're going to be bringing in some cavalry and some infantry, so they're going to be able to consolidate and start sandwiching in these Russians here pretty soon. Russians have to do something. It's pretty much now or never. They are pushing into the Highlanders here, and now it's first going to come down to who can win this fight. And with all that artillery coming in there, it looks like it is going to be the Highlanders. It's like the British, or rather, the Scottish are winning this fight, and sure enough, they are throwing the Russians back. Yeah, you do have some, oh, and then, yeah, you can see the cavalry has gotten to the rear, it's taken out the artillery. You do have these grenadiers here, but not for very long. I'm gonna call it. That's going to be it for us here. Command Combat Computer Reports. Thank you all for watching. Please subscribe to all your friends and tell them how great this channel is. And remember, happy gaming, everybody.